r/AITA stories. AITA for telling mom no apology, no wedding invitation after seeing the wedding gift she gave my fiancé. IF 25 am getting married to my fiancé Kevin next month. My family love Kevin and Kevin loves them. However, my mom is the brutally honest type who constantly dish out her opinions and thought on what people wear, how they look, how well off they are. Mostly negative, tasteless, backhanded comments. She says she can't help it and that no one should be offended when she's just being honest. When she met Kevin, she kept making comments about him, his car, his degree, etc. With time and strict conversations I was able to get her to show some respect. But she kept annoying Kevin by constantly talking about his hairless face. His face is clean, he doesn't have a beard or mustache, which he can be very insecure about. He comes from Irish origin, so he's white. He has no facial hair while I'm Hispanic. Mom made jokes with her husband about how unmanly it is to not be able to grow a beard or a mustache. Those comments hurt Kevin so much. I had this very stern conversation with her and she said, "Oh, I didn't realize those remarks were offending him. I was just teasing him, or you know me, I'm just giving my humble, honest opinion, so he shouldn't take it personal and should learn that this is how I am." She ended up sincerely apologizing to Kevin and we left it at that. As the wedding is approaching, Mom decided to give Kevin a wedding gift and also to let him know how sorry she was for her past behavior. She invited the whole family for dinner and decided it was the perfect time to hand Kevin his wedding gift. He thanked her, but she insisted that he open it right there and then and show everyone what she got him, since she knew him that well already. He opened the box and found a set of shaving tools with a shaving cream. Kevin stopped for a second and kept staring at the gift. My stepdad took it and showed everyone, then Mom and others started laughing while stepdad kept saying, "You get the joke, Kev? You get it?" And my brother running around the table laughing with everyone. Kevin got up and walked out. I was so mad I lost it on Mom asking why she did that and humiliated Kevin in front of everyone. She told me to relax, she was just messing with him, but I said she knew how he felt about this topic and demanded she apologize, but she said no, since she wasn't responsible for his reaction and thought he was going to laugh along. I angrily said no apology, no wedding invitation, period, then walked out. She freaked out, tried to say we overreacted to a joke, and my brother said I was crazy to exclude Mom from my wedding over something so stupid. He said Kevin should get over it since it was a joke, but I refused to send an invitation and withheld unless she apologizes. They think I'm unreasonable choosing this to be my hill to die on and called me disrespectful for how I treated my mom. I'd like to point out that my brother and stepdad and uncle sometimes take part in teasing Kevin. My brother, who's 31 years old, would sometimes either brag about his goatee mustache in front of Kevin or tell an indirect silly joke about this topic, which would irritate Kevin and just spoil any family gathering we have. But Mom is the one who started this whole campagna and I've already had conversations with her about it. Kevin is American but has Irish origins. Now for the top comments. NTA, tell your brother, mother, etc. that the whole wedding was rescheduled and at another venue. When they complain that they missed your wedding, just say it's just a joke. You should get over it, I was just messing with you. Now for the top comments. NTA, brutally honest is a lie people tell themselves when they are looking for an excuse to be brutal. And being deliberately brutal is always a same thing with it's a joke when people do something deliberately cruel and then claim joke to excuse their cruelty. This is behavior that someone ought to be guided past by kindergarten. If there is a difficult truth to be said, there is a kind and tactful way to say it. If it is a joke, it should bring delight and surprise, not pain. NTA, but your mother doesn't seem like the only asshole in your family. You say the whole table laughed and your brother doubled down that it was just a joke even after you explained why it wasn't. I feel bad for your fiancé. Now for the next story. AITA for telling my fiancé to get her insecurities in check and grow up after she humiliated my coworker. Recently I, 25 meters, got engaged to my amazing fiancé, 24F, Amy. I was the happiest I have ever been when Amy said yes and was nothing but excited for our wedding. We started planning the venues, the dates and the invites. When talking about who to invite, we both agreed to invite out coworkers as we have worked in our respective jobs for years and like them all. As I checked that off the list, Amy spoke up and said everyone from my job can come except my work friend Tally, 26F. Tally is also one of my close friends, so this surprised me that Amy didn't want to invite her. She has met Tally multiple times and there didn't seem to be any issues. When I asked why, she said she just doesn't like her and finds our friendship uncomfortable, saying she thinks that Tally is the type of person to try to sway taken men and be the center of attention. After talking some more to see where she got this idea, it turned out this was based on nothing but Tally's looks, as even Amy admitted that Tally is always very kind to her. But still, Amy is adamant about Tally not going and said that she makes her insecure. Amy is a beautiful woman, so I don't know why she feels this way. I told Amy that if it makes her feel comfortable not having Tally at the wedding then that is fine, but before invitations go out I wanted to speak to her privately to let her know to save embarrassment. Amy agreed and that was really that. We didn't speak on the matter after. A week or so later I went into work and Tally started to ignore me, only really talking if it was work related. I was confused as it isn't just her, our coworkers have started to ignore her and acting strange to me. So I contacted her BF, only for him to be sarcastic on the phone. I asked what the problem was when he asked if I actually didn't know what happened. He then filled me in. Turned out a few days earlier Amy came to my work on my day off with invitations. I had no idea she even made them yet, and handed everyone an invite in front of Tally, then saying to Tally, "You aren't invited, women like you aren't welcome," which has sparked everyone suggesting she is my other woman. Since then she has been harassed by some guys at work and shunned by the women. She is now looking for another job. This pissed me off and I apologized profusely as I didn't know. When I got home that night I confronted Amy about this. She denied it at first, but then told me she did it, but it is now not an issue because she's quitting her job. I flipped on her saying how she clearly didn't trust me to say and that she crossed a line doing all this behind my back. She didn't see the problem and got upset asking me why I'm so mad, me responding, "If we are really going to get married, get your insecurities in check and grow up." I stayed at a friend's since but have had texts from Amy, her friends and her mother saying I was an asshole for this and that Amy doesn't deserve this treatment. AITA. Edit. I should have explained better two things. I have made many attempts to speak to Tally privately to find out what was happening prior to contacting her BF. She brushed me off by saying she either had work to do or that there was nothing to talk about. No one would really speak to me, so I contacted her BF as a last resort. Her BF says he is going to pass on to Tally what I said to him on the phone. The wedding is currently on hold, that is also why I'm staying at my friend's. Need some distance to figure stuff out. I made the post because of all the texts. Edit 2, Jesus, this blew up, and I must say thank you to everyone for the advice you are giving me. But there is one thing I must clear up. The whole suggestion that I may have cheated on Amy with Tally. All I can ask is, can people of the opposite sex not be friends without anything untoward happening? Nothing has or ever will happen with Tally, no feelings, nothing adult, absolutely nothing. Tally is happy and in love, her boyfriend is someone I also consider a close friend. I was happy with Amy, prior to this, and Tally is more like a sister to me. I find it pretty disturbing that people are even suggesting that I did something with Tally. Ask yourself this: why in God's green earth would I let and encourage Amy to meet Tally in the first place if anything had happened? That would be messed up beyond belief. Also, I don't work in an office. I have no idea where people are getting this idea from, since I never said where or what industry I work in. I work in a retail chain. Nothing special. Questions: what am I planning to do about Tally? Unfortunately, due to what Amy has done, all I can really do is damage control. Of course I am planning to explain to everyone what has happened. I do not want Tally to be going through this. She is a genuinely kind person who does not deserve any of this. I am actually on my way to speak to her boss at the moment to see what can be done. Tally's boyfriend is also saying he will speak to her on my behalf and see if he can get her to talk to me. Hopefully we'll have an update by tomorrow. Now for the top comments. NTA. Red flags everywhere. I'd put your wedding on hold. This behavior won't improve. Now for the top comments. Your fiancée planned how she would humiliate your friend after she forced you into not inviting her to your wedding. Your fiancée is an insecure, jealous child. Why do you want to marry this person? NTA. I've been married 20 years and I am beyond appalled at this woman's behavior. She definitely wins the unmitigated Gold Star Award along with several other honorable mentions. I would never ever go behind my husband's back and handle anything in relation to his employment, co-workers or friends. He spends hours a day, every day with the people he works with. It's his daily environment, not mine. It's his responsibility to manage interactions at work, not mine. And they are his coworkers to talk to, invite, not mine. Sounds like Amy is confusing marriage with ownership. She also appears to be operating under the incorrect assumption that she has the right to insert herself into every aspect of his life and speak for him as if they are now one person instead of two and should be viewed as one individual. This mentality is toxic and controlling and shows a pretty significant underlying bully personality trait. Honestly, who in TF actually believes they have the right to do what she did? Their marriage is quite obviously not going to be a partnership. It's going to be viewed as a right to ownership, and that bodes badly for op. Dot. 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 Now for the next story. AITA for refusing to walk my daughter down the aisle? My daughter, 26F, and I haven't spoken in years. When she was 15 we found out she wasn't my biological daughter and my wife had cheated on me years ago with a friend. As it turns out, this so-called friend was suddenly interested in playing dad. My wife and I divorced, my daughter learned the truth and I told her I still loved her no matter what. Of course she was interested now in getting to know her biological father, and while it hurt I tried to accept that. She started pulling away from me after that. Even when trying to still do things together as a family she was no longer interested. The last straw was when she was 20 and living at my house. We were arguing because she dropped from her college courses, hasn't done anything for 3 months, and mad because I told her she either needed to go to school or work if she wants to stay here for free. She told me I'm not her real dad, so stop pretending like I am and she'll just go stay with her real father. That broke me honestly. But I told her if that's how she really feels then there's really nothing left to say between us. And she did move out to go live with him. I was depressed for a very long time, drank so much. My son, 24 meters, was my only reason to keep moving forward. For the first couple years I reached out to my daughter. She wanted no contact. I learned to accept that and move on. It helped me find more peace in my life. My son stopped talking to her for a while over this and was angry with her. They still chat sometimes, which doesn't bother me at all. Through him I learned her biological father died in October 2019. Also that she's engaged. She reached out to me, first that she knows that we haven't talked in a while but wants to ask me if I'd be willing to walk her down the aisle. After a pretty long message about how much she hurt me in the past with her actions, I told her no. She didn't want me to be her father anymore, so I learned to no longer view her as my daughter. This turned into a fight between us because according to her it's not her fault she wanted to know her real dad. And I agreed with her it's not, but what was her fault was how she treated me ever since. In my mind I know if he hadn't passed we wouldn't even be speaking right now. It ended with telling her I hope she enjoys her wedding but I want no part of it or her life. My son's told me she's ranting to my family that I'm ruining her day and she thought parents are supposed to love their kids unconditionally. My brother seemed to think now that I am being an asshole and this is my chance to be in her life again. But I have no interest in that. Still seems everyone has a strong opinion on it that I'm making it difficult for my daughter to have the wedding she wants when it would mean a lot to her. My son is on my side but the comments are still wearing me down, and just for the sake of my sanity, am I being an asshole? Now for the top comments. NTA. She decided that you're not her father in any capacity. You've respected that. Now that the other guy is dead, she doesn't get to change the rules. She doesn't want you, she wants someone to play a part. Maybe your son can be the one to give her away instead. Now for the top comments. NTA. Wow, up. I'm so sorry to read through your story and some people may disagree but I really don't think you're TA. You attempted contact throughout the years, but it wasn't you that became distant, it was your daughter. She wanted to get to know her bio dad, nothing wrong with that. But at the expense of becoming distant and eventually having no contact with you, her dad who had been there for her since she was born. Now the bio dad isn't there to walk her down the aisle. If she wanted you at her wedding you would have gotten an invitation, and not become a stand-in for deceased bio dad. Why can't her brother walk her down the aisle? Personally, I think she just wants her wedding to look good, irrespective of how you feel. Not the whole. At all. NTA. To quote the parlance of the kids these days, she fucked around and now she's finding out. Of course it's not her fault she wanted to know her biological father. It's absolutely her fault that she ended up burning the bridge with her dad. You raised her for over half her life not knowing she wasn't yours. She should have been a lot more grateful for the part you played in her life than she was. It's an interesting idea, isn't it? That familial love should be unconditional. But more and more often we're seeing people, correctly, realizing that cutting out toxic family members is okay, and that nobody is ever obligated to set themselves on fire to keep other people warm. The thing with that is, while it's often used to cement to kids that they don't need a relationship with their parents, the street goes two ways. It's absolutely fine to realize that it also means parents don't need to maintain a relationship with their toxic kids. She doesn't get to cut you out of her life as a father when it suits her and then decide you need to resume the role no questions asked without complaint when the guy she replaced you with isn't around anymore. Dot. 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 Well, that's all for the video today. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, have an amazing day.